I am Vivian Benderski. I am a social worker. I studied in Israel, but I am born in Argentina, and I live almost all my life here. And I work for JDC since '96, basically taking care and looking for the situation of our community in situation of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell briefly about the community, the history of Jewish community in Argentina?
Before the crisis, after the crisis?
Let's start with before.
Okay. So the Jewish community in Argentina has a long story. The first Jews arrived here in 1898. For example, my grandmother was born here in the Pampas Argentinas in that year, and there was a second immigration in the middle immediately after the Second World War finished. Those were the two waves, strong waves that came to Argentina. In one moment, we have a community of 600,000 Jews. Today it's not anymore as large. We are more or less 250,000 Jews in Argentina. 80% we live in Buenos Aires, in the main city, and only the 20% are spread in different provinces. We used to be a very wealthy, well-developed, and even, I can say, with a lot of services, sophisticated services for the community. We had a lot of Jewish schools, JCCs, synagogues, from Orthodox to Reformists, whatever you want, from Sephardi, Ashkenazi, every kind you wanted. And we had, of course, like any community, a group of poor people that more or less were always an average of 4,000 poor that the community of Argentina was able to cope with them. This was till the crisis of 2001.
And what happened in 2001?
In 2001, the whole country had a crash down. All the banks closed and all the economy fell down. We lost all our savings, all the money in the banks, and this happened mainly the group that was more shocked, but the crisis was the middle class, because the Jewish in Argentina, and this is something different with Latin America, we belong to middle class. In other countries of Latin America, Jews are in the wealthy class, in the higher class. But in Argentina, we mainly were in the middle class, and this crisis was especially strong with middle class. So people lost jobs, lost houses, lost businesses, and of course lost all their money. So in that moment, to give you an idea, those 4,000 beneficiaries of people in need jumped in few years to 40,000 people in need. And we had to deal with that. Really, we have to face this situation from one day to the other.
So what happened to these, like what kind of living conditions did those 40,000 go from and to?
These people used to be, as I told you, middle class with their apartments in nice neighborhoods, and suddenly when they lost the apartments, they had to go to live mostly with the elders that used to live in more small apartments. So suddenly you could find in an apartment of 2 rooms the old people and the whole family, the father, the mother, and all the kids all living together there. And the only income was the pension of the elders, that in that moment in Argentina was also very few. It was almost $100, something like this, but it was the only money they had. So we had to cope really with people in situation of hunger, people living in the street, and people without their medicines. The basic things were not really covered by no one. So in that moment we developed a whole system of social welfare. JDC, when I said we, I said JDC developed a whole system of helping our people, and we work all the time together with the local institutions, the main institutions in Argentina, and together we open more or less 79 centers all over the country of social assistance, where the people receive the help to continue being alive, to survive, with food, medicines, and all what they need also for housing, not to live in the street, not to go to live to shanty towns. It was really a huge work, and this was only possible because of the generosity of the people from the States, our brothers and sisters, Jewish people in the States, that they decide to send to help us to provide and to cover all the needs of our people. Otherwise, that would be impossible to be done.
But now it's better, correct?
Now the situation changed. In that moment, you had no hospital. In the hospital, you had the hospitals and the doctors. But if you need a surgery, you needed to take your blankets, your cotton, the paper for the, the studies, everything. You only had the professionals. So it was very, very difficult. Now the hospitals, they work again, and now there are a better condition for the whole society in Argentina, not only for the Jews. What we found out that finally the Jews began to work again, to reinsert themselves in the labor market, but because of the devaluation, we never achieve again the same level of income that we had before. This was over. Remember that we had the currency 1-1 and suddenly 1-8. Mm-hmm. So of course your standard lost 8 times your level. Nevertheless, from those 40,000 people in need, we still have more or less 12,000 people in need that they were not able to really solve their situation and that they need to be helped by the Jewish community. Now we continue receiving some help from the state, no anymore as in the crisis time. There is much more possibilities for the local organizations to take care and to cope with the needs of this population. JDC only stays helping strongly on the interior of the country, on the provinces, and we continue also taking care of our little kids from 0 to 5 years old. We are in charge of this group still in this moment.
And this crisis kind of brought about a change overall, right? Now you help not only Jewish community, now that Jewish community has been lifted, you've maintained services that are not just for Jewish people, right?
What you say is true, but this was during the whole time. It's not only now. We always, JDC has a branch called IDP that are programs for non-sectarian projects that are mainly for very poor people in the different countries all over the world. So in Argentina, we are supporting 2 soup kitchens in 2 of the main huge shanty towns in the country. And here the shanty towns, the condition of life are really very hard. They have no light, no water. Even they live, in cardboards. Some they are able to build something called almost a house. And we provide the food for the soup kitchen. We build the place where the soup kitchens are, and we also develop workshops, a place where the people can do workshops to sell things and to have some income, that they, for example, sewing projects, that they can do different articles that they sell all together as a cooperative, or we teach them their computer, different activities that can not only to provide the meal, but also to provide them some skills and some possibilities of some income. Mm-hmm. This is what we are doing with the non-sectarian projects. Also, and really for me, it's very, very important to tell that JDC create a laboratory in one of the hospitals, in one of the Jewish settlements in the interior of the country, that is in the middle of the Pampas, and the people had before to travel 1 or 2 hours to make their analysis, and now we create the laboratory inside the local hospital, so they don't need to travel anymore. Those are punctual helps, and the one that I will never forget in my life is in Basavilbaso, that is a little town also. It used to be one of the first settlements of the Jewish. We brought, now I don't know if I will know the word in English, it's defibrillator, is something to make the heart function.
Defibrillator.
Defibrillator. We brought the defibrillator to the hospital, and the same day it arrived a girl of 9 years that needed it, and we saved her life. They saved her life with this instrument. So those are things that really make your life have sense and make our life as Jewish people, because this is a hospital not for Jewish, it's a hospital for the town. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, that the doctors and the directors are all Jews, but it's for the whole population. And really, it makes feel you that really what we do at JDC and as Jewish community, convinced that we have the right and we have the obligation to help other people. We are doing that.
So this is kind of a different strain. Like, how do you feel about being Argentinian, an Argentinian Jew?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Yes, I personally, I am very, very attached to my country. I really love my country. I feel very Argentine, and I also feel very Jew. Also with my nose, I cannot say nothing different. So even if I don't want, I look very Jew also. And I never had a problem. And I think that my life is exactly like my work, you know. I work part-time, half of the day for the Jewish community, and for the needs of the people of my community, and half of the day I work in the Congress for the needs of the whole country, of the needs of the whole people. And in both cases, I'm working with the needs of women and kids, trying to help them and to provide them better conditions of life.
And this last question I just thought of, like, why do it's so thought often that Jewish people are wealthy, or it's thought of, well, if Jews are Argentinians, then why can't they just have Argentinian services? Why do Jews have to create special services for themselves?
Again,
like, Jews, you know, why should American Jews help Argentinian Jews? Why should Jews have their own centers, their own things, if they're Argentinians?
To be honest, I ask myself the same. A lot of times during the crisis, I ask myself, why the Americans worry about us? Why? We are so far away, so different. This I can answer you a little better, and I want you to know that, in that moment, terrible moments, black was like a dark night, to know that there was someone from other country that was worrying about you and sending you help was really something very powerful. That you are not alone and lost in the world. Why they do that, I still don't know, but maybe we are Am Israel, Lev Echad. We are one country, one people. Maybe it's that, and we have very deep in our education that we belong to the Jewish people, and that we have to help anyone all over the world. I think that this happened. On the other hand, because maybe we are minorities, we have the tendency to live as a ghetto and too much between us, and it's much easier for us to receive the help from a Jew than from the government. And as professional, I fight a lot against that, so I try